Well, with BTC officially in a downtrend now, we'll see what the market shows us, where the market takes us, really in the next week or so. I think we're going to look at a couple altcoins today, but mainly we'll stick with BTC. We'll look at Solana, Avax, BNB, and KCS again, ones we've typically looked at here recently. Onwards to BTC, which yesterday posted a second distribution day. And if you get 4 distribution days in a 30-day period, that is a marketing correction, at least for the follow-through day system that I've adopted for cryptocurrency. So that's where we're at right now. 2 distribution days. And yesterday we actually sliced through this 21-day orange moving average right there, obviously closing firmly below it. 50 days down here. We have a ways to go. We don't have to go all the way down there before we can call this a downtrend. We already have a series of lower highs and lower lows. And with not bouncing back yesterday, it really does prove the fact that Bitcoin's a little bit exhausted up here. Doesn't mean that we're dead, that we're never going to go back higher again. To the contrary, the market doesn't look that bad. It just looks exhausted. Now, how long is it going to take to get back to an uptrend? Nobody knows. You start bringing trend lines back in here, and the last consolidation we had here, lasted about 2 months, and the one prior to that one was this kind of larger, choppier consolidation, which lasted 200 days, however long that is, 9 months, I guess, something like that. So it's one of those situations where we're broken in the uptrend, but we're not necessarily breaking the overall direction of the market. We are consolidating and or forming a base, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Quite to the contrary, once you break out of these bases, you get further upside action. And that's really what we want. We want that big sustained upside action. It always ends, it always will, and when it ends, we generally take profits and go from there. So right now, we are waiting for we're waiting. Get rid of these lines again. There's a lot of lines on my chart. So where do we go from here? What are the possibilities? Well, you can always go back to key moving averages. Here's the 50-day down here at the 56,000 level today. If we can chop up here for a while, maybe the 50-day will catch up with us and meet us up here. Or if we go down and rush and meet it, that's a bit of a different situation. If we rush down to meet it, then we're looking at finding kind of some quicker support. Not really capitulation moves, but you're looking for quicker support that comes in drastically and forms a wick. Something like this red candle, some like this. This wasn't one of those situations, but at the same time, if we do run lower, that's not the best thing to do. You want to walk down in a measured fashion, which would be ideal, or just chop sideways and let the 50-day catch up with us. So out of the three, we don't want it to run down and meet the 50-day. We want the 50-day to come up to us in a couple of weeks, and we can do something like this. If you look at this last time we consolidated here, the 50-day caught up, right? So we had a vertical move here, we came down, we got boom, we dropped down to the 21-day, held support for the 21-day, finally gave it up here, gave up the 21-day here, and the 10-day started mixing with it, and then the 50-day caught up, we came down, touched it, and then the moving averages were intertwining, so nothing was really holy at that point, moved a little bit lower, and then we finally started going again here. So we could do something like this. It's hard to say exactly what we're going to do, but the fact of the matter is right now is that this uptrend does look done, and it's going to take quite a bit of buying pressure for us to pull back up immediately, which is highly unlikely. That usually doesn't happen. Usually we'll consolidate sideways or in a different downtrend. So what are the different bases? A lot of you guys may not know this, but you can form some kind of a cup base here, which is basically a big U-shaped formation. Those are things that we will often see. Another one that we'll see is called a double bottom base. It's where we have, let's say this is a low, we come back up a little bit, and then say test the 69,000, come back lower again, undercut it, undercut that first low, and then go back up. Okay, and your buy point is this middle W looking thing. But the point about this base is the second low undercuts the first low. Those are two of your more classical actual structured bases. You've got other ones which we're not going to form called an ascending base. But really, another one we could use called a flat base. A flat base essentially goes down less than those other two bases possibly could. We're pretty much at the maximum range of that. If we start ranging in like this, that would be a flat base. This was a flat base right here. This was a very small flat base, more like a consolidation, but a flat base takes you sideways for a decent period of time. There's no There's no time frame in cryptocurrency for what that needs to be, but then it starts going up again. So I think we're at the maximum for a flat base. So we'll likely cup out at some point. The double bottom bases are a little bit harder to come across. They're a little more rare. Those cup and handles are pretty frequent. And but those are your classical bases. There's really not a lot of them. And if it doesn't do those, then it's not a base. It's just not. It's going to be what it's going to be. But right now there's really no edge in this market. I don't think we're going to have a major downtrend, although we obviously always could, failing all-time highs. But we didn't reject it with a lot of aggression. We got good volume up into it. Then when we were in the highs here, our volume was just normal, big-ish volume. Really not a problem. Nothing substantially bad up here. So real quick, we'll take a look at these other ones. So Solana, Avax, BNB, KCS, but there's not much to do there either. I just want to show them to you. Solana, so far, it's at the 10-day moving average. I don't think we're going to get supported here, but you know we already undercut it a little bit yesterday, a little bit more today. We spent most of our day today under the 10-day moving average, above the 21. Will that hold? Those same bases apply, by the way, to Solana, Avax, BNB, and KCS. Is that how will those bases take shape? Well, Solana, this is a very classic cup and handle right here. Which is why we marked it up so high in the handle, is because very classical cup and handle. And when you're in this downtrend, you call it like, okay, maybe we'll cup out, because cup and handles are usually the more common thing rather than a double bottom. This one actually also had a component to double bottom with a low here, undercutting it here, but the overall shape was a classical cup on the way up. So we could form a cup again here. We don't know. So here we held the 10-day for a bit. Then it came to the 21. Very measured on the way down. We'll see if this behaves the same way. AVAX doing pretty good. Actually holding its cup and handle. So there's the cup. There's the handle. Broke out of the 43 through the 50, which was the prior high. Now holding the 50, oddly enough. One of the few still holding a support level. And we'll see how long that lasts. We didn't get a lot of distribution here. This one's going to be harder. Obviously better to hold spot if you want to do this, but it's going to be a little bit tricky with the market that we're in. We could have some wicks to the downside. They could shake some people out. BNB also still holding relatively strong. So all three of these coins doing a really good job of holding strength here currently. BTC even, gave up that 21 day, but these alts are not. They're holding it so far, and that's pretty good. And then we have KCS, which yesterday had a gargantuanly bad day, at least price percentage wise, wiped out quite a bit of price action, but with a really big snapback today. And volume's not even that low. If you look on my 2-hour time frame, look at this volume that stepped in a few hours ago. Big volume right at that low, getting support. So this is going to be an important level. This whatever this low is here, the 12,120. So 12.12. 12,120 if you add a zero, but 12.12 if you don't. And great action here. This is just bouncing into, so our breakdown points up here at 1481, give or take. So we can snap all the way back into that, and this could just be a snapback, but good volume on KCS. And so BNB and KCS, those are both tokens for obviously Binance coin, or for Binance, and for KuCoin. So in that instance, we are seeing some strength here that these exchange tokens aren't falling apart. That's a good thing. And so I like that. And here's another really big cup in line for KCS as well. So just going through these are quality names. They're not being sold off en masse. I think that obviously we're going to sell off a little bit, but how far for how long is to be determined. And so from that perspective, I think what you can take away from this is that, yes, we're going to chop around. Yes, we're going to base. Yes, we're going to consolidate. But at the end, we'll likely be okay. At least that's what it looks like right now. And if that changes tomorrow, I'll let you know on Altcoin Buzz Trading.